Good afternoon, kids. And how are you today? Today is Thursday, the 2nd of September, 2021. Now, George, I had a request from you that you would like me to read the series of these. Rupert, Bear. And there's several Rupert books, as you can see. And over a few days, I have intention of reading these to you. We'll start off with Rupert and the Miser's Hoard. Okay? An adventure for you to share with Rupert. Okay, we'll read the first one. And here we go. Now, first of all, I probably should tell you that these stories are, it doesn't say so, but I think Rupert, generally speaking, was adapted from these books. Here we go. Written by Len Collis, illustrated by John Davis, and designed by Ralph Siemens. Okay? I don't think he was the original writer of Rupert Bear, but these people are to do with these adventures of Rupert. Okay, so the first one here is Rupert and the Miser's Hoard. So here we go. We'll start with this one. Okay. Rupert and the Miser's Hoard. I'll see what I can do about showing all of this together and have me read it at the same time. Here we go. There is a surprise in the post today. It is a letter for you, and it is postmarked from Nutwood, and it must be from your old friend Rupert Bear, because he obviously lives in Nutwood. Carry on to the next page, it says. You and Rupert have shared in some thrilling adventures together. Can this be the start of another? You feel a tingle of excitement as you tear open the envelope. Wow, it looks like it's going to be another adventure with Rupert. Now turn to page 3. So we're going to turn over to page 3 now and follow on. Page 3. It's got a big 3 in the corner, see? Okay. Out flutters a piece of old newspaper. There is a note from Rupert too. There's the old newspaper. It's got some writing on it there. I'll read the writing. Search for Miser's Hoard called off. Clues lead nowhere. Baffling mystery of McGinty's missing gold. The Daily Express special correspondent. Police and relatives attempting to trace the fortune hidden away by the late Angus McGinty, one of Britain's wealthiest economics today, and it disappears. It doesn't show the rest, okay? So that's page 3. So we go on to page 4. Page 4. My Uncle Bruno used to know old Angus McGinty, writes Rupert, not Europe. He was a very rich man, but when he died, nobody could find where he hid his gold. Uncle Bruno thinks he knows where it is. He wants me to help him to look for it. Can you come along?" And lend a hand. That's can you come along, George, and lend a hand? And not only George, but Abby, because Abby's here too. Hello, Ab. How are you? How you going? "Of course," you reply to Rupert straight away. And of course you reply to Rupert straight away and tell him you would be delighted to help. There you go. So you've written back and said you'd be delighted to help. Okay, now I'll show you the page, and I think I'll turn the page so I can read it, because my reading is not quite so good when I'm trying to read it to you like this. Okay. Uncle Bruno waves you off from the small cottage he has rented near where the old miser used to live. And a miser is a person who's very who keeps his money in the bank and doesn't spend it, and he's very he doesn't like spending money, and they call him a miser because of that. Okay, carry on to the next page. Rupert has jotted down Uncle Bruno's instructions in a small notebook. "We must turn off by an old Tudor manor. House," he mutters. Suddenly he stops and points. "Look, there are two large houses. Which one do you think is the old Tudor house? Do you know what an old Tudor house looks like?" And then it says, "If you think this house is the right one, turn to page 7. If you think this must be the Tudor house, turn to page 9. And there's two houses, so you have to know which one's the Tudor house. And I think you know, George, because we've had this before. Hey, do you remember, George? Yeah, I think it could be that one. Yeah, I think it could be. Okay. So we'll turn to page 9, shall we? 8, 9. Oopsie daisy. There we go. Here's the page we're going to read. You turn off by the side of the house and follow a muddy footpath leading down to a riverbank. "I'm sure this is the right way," gasps Rupert excitedly. He's right. It is. Full marks for knowing what a Tudor house looks like. "Look, there's a boat we can use," Rupert cries. There's the picture there. And it says here, carry on to the next page. And here we are on the next page. And we have a horsey, and we have a boat. And we have some lines in between. They look all tangled, don't they? But the boat's rope is tangled up with another, which is attached to a horse grazing nearby. "Crumbs! We mustn't pull the wrong rope," exclaims Rupert. "Which one is tied to the boat?" If you decide to pull on the rope tied to the post, turn to page 8. So that's the post there. That's the post there. If you think the boat is attached to the ring, turn to page 11. That's the ring there. So Grandad can't remember. I'm going to have to do this puzzle to know which page to turn to. It goes around there, around there, it's the one, if you remember, George, it was the one that was tied on to the ring over there. Okay, so we need to turn to page 13. Page number 13. Hello, Grandma.
Hello.
Grandma's just come back in. Okay, so we're going to turn to page 13. And Rupert tugs on the rope and hauls the boat to the water's edge. Taking an oar each, you row across to the other side. When the boat is safely tied up again, Rupert points toward a patch leading up a path leading up a grassy slope. It's not far now, he shouts. Okay. So they've tied the boat up. Okay. And they're going to head off up the path. Carry on to the next page. So that's page 13. Now we're going to go to page 14. But the climb is steeper than it looks. You and Rupert are quite out of breath when you get to the top. Thank goodness the other side is downhill, pants the little bear. He glances at Uncle Bruno's notes. There should be a track leading down to a road now, he says. Turn to page 15. So we have to turn over the page. That's page 14. We'll go to page 15. And on page 15, I'll show you the whole 2 pages. There we go. You remember this, George. In fact, there are 2 tracks. Rupert gives a puzzled frown. I don't think both paths go to the road, he says. Rupert is right. Just one of the tracks leads directly through the wood to the road. If you think it is the yellow track, we turn to page 11. Here's the tracks there. If you think it's the yellow track, we turn to page 11. And if you think it is the brown track, we turn to page 17. Okay. So I think, from memory, it's the yellow track. So we'll turn to page 11 and find out. So now we have to turn back because we're on page 15. So we've got to turn back to page 11. So we'll go all the way back. 7, 9, 11. Whoopsie daisy. You set off down the track, but it's the wrong one. We should have gone the other way, sighs Rupert. I've got that one wrong. He's right. Skip back to the middle pages and look along both tracks, holding the picture close up to your eye. You'll see that only the brown path points directly at the road. Suddenly there's an angry shout from nearby. A man carrying a pitchfork is storming toward you. You're not allowed here, he roars. Oh dear. Glumly, you and Rupert trudge back to Uncle Bruno's cottage. Turn to page 22. Oh, hold on. You trudge back to turn to page 22. Yeah, we're going to go back to page 22. These are a bit of a different book to read, aren't they? Okay. Uncle Bruno has some sausages sizzling in the pan. That smells delicious. They'll be ready by the time you have washed and changed, he tells you. Later, after you've explained what happened, he nods thoughtfully. I'm sure it will be all right next time, he says. The end. But try again. So what we'll do, seeing as we've ended up here, we'll go back and we'll take the other track. Okay? Now, we took the yellow track that time. So this time I think we'll take the brown track and see where that takes us. Probably won't take us to the end of the book. If you think it is the brown track, turn to page 17. So we'll turn to page 17. Okay? Page 17. I hope we've chosen the right path, cries Rupert, as you set off down the hill. Don't worry, you have. Was it a lucky guess, Or could you really see which track led straight to the road? Well done anyway. Well, we made a mistake, didn't we? And we ended up at the end of the book, so we had to start again from this point. Carry on to the next page, it says at the bottom. There we go. There's Rupert there, giving you a wave. Okay. There's another problem when you get to the road. Some of the markings have worn away, and only a few parts of the letters are left. Rupert scratches his head. I don't know whether we should turn right here or not, he says slowly. I'm sure it would help if we could work out what the words say. You remember that? You remember that, George, when you were reading that? Which way do we have to go? I'll read the bottom of the page there to you. Rupert's right. The road marking can give you some important information if you can puzzle them out. If you decide to take the turning on the right, and that's the one that goes up there, go to page 21. If you think you should carry on ahead, turn to page 19. I think we need to go up there, don't we? Because if you read very, very carefully what those letters say there, what the letters on the road say, Grandad can see it says no through road. No through road is written on the road. You won't know how to read that yet, but you'll soon learn how to do that. So I think we should go to page 19. So we'll turn over to page 19. Well done for working out the words no through road, grins Rupert. We certainly didn't want to go that way. No, we've chosen the right way. We've gone the other way. Then he strides on ahead for a short while and then gives an excited shout. We're close to the spot Uncle Bruno has marked, he cries. It's just across this turnip field. Just across this turnip field. Okay, number 19. Carry on to the next page. So we're going to carry on over there to page 20. And I'll read that one to you. Suddenly he looks uncertain. I'm not sure if this really is a turnip field, he mutters. Can you tell? Do you think turnips are growing here or something else? If you think it looks like a turnip field, go to page 12. If you think it must be something else, turn to page 23. And I think that it's page 23 that we need to go to, because I think that could be something else. They don't look like turnips to me. What about you, Mummy? What do you think? What about you, Abby? Do you think you know? That looks awfully like wheat or barley to me, not turnips. So anyway, we think it's something else, so we go to 23. You're right. It's a cornfield, not a turnip field. Full marks for sharp eyes. The turnip field you are looking for is further along. Rupert checks Uncle Bruno's instructions as you follow him round the edge of the field. There should be some large stones on the other side, he says. There we go. Those are turnips in the ground by Grandad's thumb. And it says carry on to the next page. So there's the next page. You remember those, George? Page 24. And here they are. Rupert points to some faint carvings on the two middle stones. See those faint carvings on the two middle stones, on those two sets of stones? They're arrows, aren't they? Telling you which way to go. The arrow on the larger stone tells us the right way to go, he explains. The trouble is, both stones look the same size to me. Oh, there's a trick on the eyes being done here. This is tricky, but one of the carved stones is definitely bigger than the other. Can you tell which one it is without measuring? Oh, you have a look at that. Now that's a real tricky one, because with the big stone with the little ones around is that size, and the big stones with the other one in the middle, they look round about the same size, but they're different. And I think, George, it says there, if you think it is the stone surrounded by large somethings, boulders,